With tight ends coach Brian Wozniak. Coach, thanks for joining us today. An exciting period of time for all of you guys who've been working so hard on the recruiting trail, and including with the person we're going to talk to you about, tight end Luke Musgrave out of Bend Senior High School. We'll get to the Musgrave name and its familiarity to fans throughout the Beaver State, but I know it's tremendous to have Luke in the program. Take us through, if you would, a little bit about how he first came on your radar and the recruitment of Luke Musgrave.
Yeah, we found Luke spring, obviously, of 2018, and we were able to watch his film from his junior season. Was really impressed with some of the stuff he was doing, and he ended up coming up to one of our summer camps, and he was lights out. And obviously, with his measurables, he was a pretty easy fit for us and pretty easy guy to go on.
6'6", 225. How do you? Those measurables are impressive in their own right. How does he carry that? How does he play with that height and that weight right now?
Oh, there's no. I mean, he's going to have to add weight, obviously. But the thing with him and what we've talked about is it's slow to add weight. You know, he doesn't want to get too big too fast. But at the same time, there's not a lot of 225 tight ends running around the college football ranks. So he'll add some weight as he goes. He's a young kid, and he's got a frame that can put on, you know, quite a bit more weight, and that's what's exciting. You look at that kid, you know, you go watch him work out at high school. He's got his shorts up high, and he's got these big muscular quads, and you're just like, golly, that kid's going to be really strong.
What about the hands and how much Ben threw? I mean, I don't know where, just in terms of pure pass catching and route running ability.
Well, I think the coolest thing about his senior year, if you watch the film, obviously he's out there catching the ball at tight end, but he had 2 pick sixes at D end, which, if anybody's seen a pick six from a D end spot, that's quite the accomplishment. Yeah. So he's very active with his hands, very consistent with his hands. And, you know, big long arms with big long hands makes it pretty easy to catch a football.
Brian, what about the other sports? In preparing for these games and writing down notes on players, not often. I know back in the day they wrote it down for the great Jim Brown and lacrosse, but lacrosse and ski racing, a well-rounded athlete. I don't know how you feel about the skiing thing going forward, but he's obviously dabbled in a lot of things and has some real athletic ability.
Well, I'll tell you what, I learned a lot about ski racing because the whole family does it. The mother was an Olympic skier. She'll try to downplay it, but she was really good. And you go and they show us some home videos of it, and the way he's using his hips in the skiing, you're kind of like, okay, that has some familiarity with some football stuff. And then lacrosse, to me, that's a great spring sport for any high school kid to play. You know, if you have an opportunity, you're not doing track, you're not doing anything else, go run around on the lacrosse field for a little bit. You know, there's pads in that game. I don't know if it's quite as physical as football, but it's really interesting dynamic of what he grew up doing and kind of how it's helped him mold his body to what it is now.
You know, when I say skiing, I don't know how coaches in other sports feel when their athletes are involved. Clearly, he's benefited from playing these other sports and being involved in the super slalom skiing and all of that. Does that continue when he moves at this level, do you think, in his off time?
As long as he's not doing jumps and flips, okay, he can go to Bend and ski on his off time, and he's not a first-time skier, so he knows how to get up and down the hill or the mountain, I guess. But as long as he's not doing jumps and flips, which I think is a rule of his mom's anyways, I'm good with it. His
mom, Amy, and I wasn't aware of her pedigree in that sport. That's good to know. We may have to learn a little bit more about that.
Right.
Now, I know his father, Luke's father, Doug. I remember Doug playing quarterback down the road. I certainly remember Luke's uncle Bill playing quarterback down the road. Bill Musgrave, the current offensive coordinator for the Broncos. So clearly some ties with the other program, and it looks as though Luke was allowed and has made his own decision.
Yeah, I think, you know, talking with Doug through this whole process, he made it very clear right away that, hey, this is Luke's decision. I'm not, you know, my opinion, I'll help him if he asks, but this is his decision, and Doug was all about it. I mean, he's a big fan of us. He's a big fan of the way we do things, and I think for his kid, that's what's most important, you know. And we talked about that with him, is not only are we bringing a good character kid in with Luke, but we're going to surround him with similar characteristics with other players. Now, different backgrounds, but they're going to be good, outstanding kids who work hard, great work ethic, and really going to match what Luke kind of is as well.
You know, in talking about the family, I know that there's a strong commitment to the academic program, and he's interested in biohealth sciences. Now, again, that's not something I write down frequently, but it sounds like he's wired in a unique and special way. Will be bringing a lot of good qualities to Oregon State.
Yeah, you know, with his upbringing, his mom being a PA, his dad being a surgeon, you know, they've been across the country. You know, they've lived all the way from Pittsburgh, you know, North Carolina, all the way back to Oregon. He's seen a variety of things. He's been around a variety of things, obviously, as far as academia goes. And he's the type of kid that can handle that stuff. You know, he can handle that extra workload with the academics, as hard as it may seem. If there's a guy that can do it, it's probably Luke.
Do you have a plan specifically in place for when you talk about getting bigger and stronger and so on in his freshman year, and when he's planning on enrolling, and what his career path might take in his freshman year?
Well, it all depends on, with every kid that comes in, is the physical and mental side of things. And talking with him, to me, what I told him, tight end position, in really every position, it's compound interest. You know, you're going to come in with this slate, and you're going to learn a little bit the first month, and then how does that work for the next month, the next year, the next 2 years, how much he learns, how quickly he learns, how high he invests. Is what's going to get him on the field either really, really early, or you know, it might be a developmental deal for him. But the way he works, the way he goes about stuff, you know, he's going to be a player for us. And I can't tell you if it's right away, but I would not be shocked.
We look forward to it all. Brian, thanks for the time.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Brian Wozniak on Luke Musgrave.